Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com, is brought to you by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. Alien Technologies, making today's innovations into tomorrow's technologies. And by RockAuto.com, all the parts your car will ever need.
Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. Now, you spoke and we listen, especially when it comes to the tech tips. You know, you blew up our social media every time there was a tech tip out there. So why not incorporate it into the show? Voila, here it is. Master Tech Tips. Hashtag MTTT. Say what? That's right, Master Tech Tips. And why not start with one of the biggest players on the car? That's the oxygen sensor. We'll give you some tips, but first of all, let's understand how it works. The oxygen sensor is located right here. Now, there's a pre and a post oxygen sensor. What does it do? Well, it sniffs oxygen, exactly what it says it does. There's about 21% oxygen in the outside atmosphere, and if your exhaust has 21%, that means you don't have a lot of gas. There's not a lot of pressure there, so guess what? It doesn't make a lot of voltage. Now, on the other hand, your oxygen sensor, well, it may have 21% on the outside, and in your exhaust, you may only have 2 or 3%. That's a rich condition. That means there's a lot of fuel in there. Well, how does it work? Well, your car works on CCC, Command Corrects Condition, and we can actually show it to you right here on Tech Garage in action. Check this out. I got the oxygen sensors running right there, and you can see they use a baseline of 450 millivolts, and down on the bottom end there's about 100 millivolts, and up on the top you have about 900. It's crossing that threshold. Rich, lean. The upper half is rich, the lower half is lean. Command corrects conditions, switching. The quicker it switches, the better your car runs. Now, the other one over there, that's the actual post-oxygen sensor. That's the one behind the cat, and it's actually doing its job there. You can see it's anywhere from 400 up to about 600, but it's not fluctuating as much as the first one is. Well, that's because the catalytic converter is doing its job. It's working great. Up, down, nice and smooth. The pollutants are coming in, the cat's taking care of it, the rear oxygen sensor is working just great. But you got to remember that command corrects condition. Now, here's your tech tip. Listen, you can kill those things. This RTV, room temperature vulcanizer, that actually will kill an oxygen sensor. So you have to make sure the box says sensor safe. Don't use anything that's not sensor safe. Also, you know, when you dump that coolant down in there, you're doing a big engine job, the heads are off, your exhaust manifold's sitting there, bam, you dump it down in there, coolant will poison an oxygen sensor. So be very careful to keep the coolant out of your engine as well. And speaking of oxygen sensors, I think Josh has one out. You know, this wouldn't be a Master Tech segment without a Master Tech. You are ASE Master Certified. This is Josh Ellis. Josh, what did you find?
This oxygen sensor is rich. How can I tell that? Well, it's nice and black, filled with hydrocarbons.
Yeah, it is. You know what? This one's all sooted up. That's a good indication. Remember I talked about that rich lean condition? This one would probably be slow. Now, you can also look at these conditions right here. You have a few conditions. You have lead poisoning up there on the top. That's going to kill it. Over to the right, you actually have a rich air fuel mixture. That's what's right here on our sensor. It's very, very rich. Bottom left, well, that's coolant. The coolant I said gets in there, that's actually going to poison it. And then on the right, a silicone poisoning, that's actually going to do the damage with the RTV. But you know, it would be really cool, Josh, if we could actually see it in action. How does it work, and can we look at rich lean conditions?
Man, absolutely we can. RockAuto.com sent us an air-fuel ratio gauge, and we installed it right here on our favorite demo engine.
And that's really cool because a perfect number is 14.7. That's a stoichiometric number. Right now we're at 18. Well, the engine's not running. That's more air than fuel. That's a lean condition. When I start the engine, well, we're hoping it's going to drop down. We're going to get some exhaust back there. We actually welded into the exhaust up here. It's actually going to read a live condition, which is really cool. There's also some options on there to set some alarms. If it's going really lean, that's dangerous. Our race car drivers know what we're talking about. But when I fire it up, let's see what's going on here. If it goes rich to lean and rich to lean. Now remember, this is live, so we can actually watch it in action. Whew, man, that never gets old.
Sounds great.
I love that engine. But you know, watching that in action, that's really how it works. You can actually watch your car if it's rich or lean. You're driving a turbocharged or a supercharged car. Super important that you're actually monitoring that rich fuel. Great tech tip today. But you know, Rock Auto, they have this, but they have a lot of other cool things too. Accessories you probably wouldn't even think they have. Let's check in with Dave and Tom and see what's going on.
Well, Tom, gauges like that and other accessories are something you guys have a huge variety of at rockauto.com. Where can we find them?
Under individuals' cars, there'll be an accessory section. And then under the Tools and Universal Parts tab is where we have things like gauges that fit any vehicle.
And what about the gauge John was showing us?
Yeah, that's under interior. And I was just looking, we have air-fuel ratio gauges. We have over 40 of those.
40?
That just shows an example of our selection.
It's incredible. And it goes on and on that way. It's kind of an endless website, I've noticed, when you dig in deep. Very, very cool. Lots of choices.
Yeah, huge number of gauges. And then we have lots of other fun accessories, trailer hitches, things like that. Cool blue coolant hose over there, silicone hose.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. It's a neat piece. And the piece I love, the ones you brought here, the jerry cans in front. They look like regular jerry cans, but they're actually storage cans.
Yeah, they're actually toolboxes or whatever you want to hide in there. So.
Very cool. Yeah, John, rockauto.com has all kinds of accessories, and I know you had a ball shopping for these ones.
Oh yeah, that's how a G35 is supposed to idle. Smooth, man. That thing's really smooth. Great, Josh. All you have to do now is just clear the codes, take it for a test drive, make sure no codes reappear, which I'm sure they're not. Man, you'll be just like new. Speaking of new, we put some new injectors in there, Dave. This thing is nasty. Look at the gunk in there. I mean, you could pick it out of there. It's packed full, Dave.
That is super gross.
Yep. That's made all the difference in the world. And it's a good thing you went and replaced them all. Now, if you saw gunk like that, you probably want to address the fuel filter, the tank, the lines, everything. We'll go back and address it all, but definitely stop the misfire.
You got it. It was a great way to cap off the show right there.
Yeah, you know, it was a great show today as well, man. We talked about Garage Ed. It was all about brake fundamentals, those air-fuel ratios. Man, I love it. Great start.
John, so far this season, we are undefeated.
Undefeated? Well, wait till next week. Yeah. Speaking of next week,
know.
yeah, we're out of time for today. So join us next week for more Tech Garage brought to you by rockauto.com. Man, that's nasty. Great job.
Yeah,
man,
good
you
stuff.
guys killed it.
Production assistance for Tech Garage is provided by Chipola College, located in Marianna, Florida. Founded in 1947, Chipola was ranked recently as one of the top 3 community colleges in the United States.